it was supposed to happen. And at the end of the interview, right when they were going to offer me the job, the hiring manager, Martin Goodfriend, said, Kellee, I want you to go home. I want you to think about this, and I want you to use your heart. Like, this is your first real job out of college, and it should be the right decision.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Karl Ponto. Each week, I'll bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week, I'm excited to have my friend Kellee Johnson on the show. Advisor, investor, and mentor, Kellee held management roles for Tropicana, the division of PepsiCo, Abbott Labs, medtech startups, and consulted before founding the Ballast Group in 2005, an award-winning go-to-market strategy firm based in Sarasota, Nashville, and Chicago. Her campaigns launched early-stage U.S. companies and propelled international clients towards U.S. stakeholders who didn't know they needed to invest, buy, or partner with these companies. Growing up as an identical twin, Kellee spent her youth differentiating before choosing a career, helping clients stand out too. She taught as an adjunct professor and served on for-profit and nonprofit boards. Kellee's first book, Seek Your Unique, captures decades of examples that built credibility, shaped reputations, and lifted above their competition clients who are changing the face of medicine, technology, and life. She coined the 10 secrets for living in the innovation advantage by leading an exciting life driven by curiosity, relevancy, and eternal learning. Congrats on Seek Your Unique, and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thank you, Karl, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this ever since you booked the recording session. I'd love to hear, because I've kind of got a glimpse of what these 10 secrets are, but I'd love to know what your favorite is and why of these 10 secrets.
Yes, the 10 secrets are the 10 chapters. And I started out, I was 30 when I started. This book took about 5 years in the making. COVID finally ignited me to write a lot out. And then I sat on it for 2 years, and I revisited it last November and said, if not now, when? And so here we are today, and the 30 became 10. And there's two that are my most favorite. If I had to pick one, well, I'll tell you both, but one of them is growing into your goals, which is something I've done my entire life, kind of putting yourself one step ahead of where you know you are, but and with the confidence to know that you will get there. And growing into your goals by empowering others. And that last phrase of that chapter is super important. And then secondarily, the opening doors that validates your character. So sometimes people think of these backwards a little bit, like I want to meet my goals, but they don't know that empowering others is really what does it for you first. And then also validating your character opens doors, period. Like if you just think of times in life where you have not known how you come across to others, but your character comes across every time you interact with anybody, right? How are you, what is your belief system? How are you operating every single day? What values guide you? So I'll start first with the growing into your goals by empowering others. So I went to college, or to high school in Florida, and also undergrad in Florida at Winter Park Rollins College. And Rollins is a super important place for me because I feel like it really shaped my character. We grew up in a household of 4 kids and a single mom. And Dad wasn't really in the picture much until our teens, when we got to know him a little bit later. There's a chapter in there on that too. And when I was at Rollins, I met a basketball player. We dated in college, still good friends today. He swings by my mom's house, who's 91, and calls her Mama J. And he was 6'6", played basketball at University of Tennessee, and decided to transfer to Rollins. So we met there, great connection for life, actually, even though we didn't end up getting married. But his aunt and uncle lived in Sarasota, Florida. So after college, he went to play pro basketball for 6 months. I went to Europe for 6 weeks to travel with girlfriends. And the point of the story is I met his aunt and uncle when I got back, and he decided to move to Sarasota. I was looking for a job, not really sure what was in store for life. I had done a PR internship at Universal Studios, so I knew the field was for me. Now it was finding the right match for an employer. So Patty ended up, his aunt got sick. She had breast cancer. They had 3 girls under the age of 9, and he already started a job. And he asked, could I help nanny? And I said, sure. I don't have a job yet. I would love to help out. And not only did I get the taste of what it would like to be a biological mom, but I also helped Patty out in a really important time, the family out in a really important time in their lives. She made it. I'm happy to say she's in her 80s now, still swimming like weekly. But my point is, I had a goal. I needed a job after college. I was super excited to get out and start working and making my own money, and enabling a lot of other things with that freedom. And Patty, when she got sick, I was visiting her in the hospital one night, and in came a woman, and we started talking, and she worked at Tropicana, which is owned by Pepsi. And did we just go offline, by the way?
No, we're still good.
Oh, something blinked here. Apologies. Let me start that over. So this woman came into her hospital room, started talking. We realized she worked for Tropicana. And the more she talked to me, and found out I was a recent graduate, she said, you know what, there's an opening that we have. I'd like to talk to you. And so the next day we talked. I started to apply for the position. I used a polite persistence, and guess what? I ended up getting my first Fortune 500 job right out of college because I had an act of kindness, one, to take time to help a family out, to nanny when they didn't have anybody at the time. And not only did I learn a lot in the process, but by empowering her and her family, I reached a really big goal of mine, which was land somewhere good, get that base foundation, and the rest will take care of itself. And it did.
I love that lesson, because when you not only did you help out because they needed it, and it was like in the short term for taking care of the kids and stuff, but also you helped make the aunt's battle with cancer easier, because she's less stressed about what's going to happen with the kids, because she knew they were in good hands. And by being there, like I said, being there in that hospital room to take care of her and her family gave you the position. You were in the right place at the right time for those opportunities to come up, or if you hadn't been there, you wouldn't have met that person and you wouldn't have had that opportunity at Tropicana. So it's the mindset of helping others first puts you in the position to not only be out and meeting other people, but also when people meet you, they're seeing you're doing stuff for other people. You're a good person they'll want to work with, and they'll want to connect with you because they see how, again, like the quality of your character, like you mentioned with the other factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I knew that I'd never been a patient before. And I know you and I have both been patients since then, in our adult life. So we have a different level of compassion, but back then I had no idea really how stressful it is to have a major health scare. And I'm really happy to say all her 3 girls are beautiful. They're in their 40s now. And it was just amazing to be a part of their lives, and to still know that I could walk over to the mom's house or get online and talk to any of those girls at any time. And they all have their own families now. And it's just beautiful the way it was sort of full circle.
Yeah, I think it really shows the power of, if you're trying to get something, like even if it's like a career or like professional, quote unquote, related goal, that connecting with people as people first is the right way to do it. Because if you help someone else out, they have hundreds of people that they know that they're talking to, that they're gonna want to reciprocate. So they know what you're looking for help with.
Yes.
And you solve a problem for them or help them out when they need it, they're gonna be looking for ways to repay that kindness. And so they'll help you find more effectively what you're looking for than if you're just trying to go out by yourself, only looking out for yourself all the time, because there's no way you can have as big of a reach as if you go out helping other people.
Right. And I learned something also, where to lead from my heart. And that's a full circle with this exact example too, is I just knew when they asked me it was the right thing to do. And I thought, you know what? Yes, I need a job. It will all work out. And if Tanya hadn't been in her hospital room that night, the person that worked for Tropicana at the time, it was serendipitous. It was supposed to happen. And at the end of the interview, right when they were going to offer me the job, the hiring manager, Martin Goodfriend, said, Kellee, I want you to go home. I want you to think about this, and I want you to use your heart. Like, this is your first real job out of college, and it should be the right decision. So my heart led me to take care of that family, and serendipitously, I got introduced to the company. I also used my heart to make that right decision. And it was a great company, great experience. In PR, we're very visible in the company, throughout the company, with a C-level team and your own boss. I had an incredible boss there that ironically died of the same disease Patty had in Sarasota. Yeah, and it was rare, and it took her 16 years. She really fought all she could, and she just taught me so much. And it means a lot to have a boss when you're first entering your first job out of college and entering the workforce, that you have somebody that has character and morals, can set the ground straight, give you good advice, check you when you need to be checked. And Terry did all of that for me.
I think I love that the interviewer had that same sort of, like, make sure it feels right.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, they take a job for the wrong reasons, because like they kind of feel like they need to take it, and then they feel like they're stuck even in a job they don't enjoy, because of, like, they just need the money, or because like they're just gonna work. It seems like they're out of options, and so there's this overall quality of life, and the quality of the work isn't there because their heart's not in it. And I think it's something that, if more people had the kind of giving mindset and were putting out that energy more into the world and making that a habit of giving, then they'd come across more opportunities and wouldn't feel like they'd be stuck in the ones they currently are in, and would have better, more fulfilling careers and lives in general by making that giving mindset that you had when you went to Nanny for this family, even though you really needed a job. That habit or that behavior is something that people can use to avoid feeling like they're stuck in their current roles because of the perceived lack of options. But it's the mindset of just focusing on themselves that limits those options to them. Yes. Whereas if they start by, okay, I'm just going to start giving and connecting with people and helping them out with what they need, I'll suddenly have a wealth of options for myself that I'm actually aligned with what I want to be doing and who I am. And it solves that problem that they feel like is of being kind of stuck in their current career or current lifestyle, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and the book Seek Your Unique is about just that. So it's for corporate entrepreneurs, which I was at Abbott Labs for a year. And it kind of reminded me, like, your heart is with innovation and entrepreneurship. And even though you're at a big company with that role, I couldn't move fast enough. And so corporate entrepreneurs that are tasked inside a big company with innovation and at least setting teams in motion for innovation if they're not in charge of product innovation, but then budding entrepreneurs. So not the seasoned one who've been through it before, who might be serial entrepreneurs that we work with a lot, but the budding ones, the ones that have the idea, might not have the funding. The last 18 months has been very tough for startups to secure full funding. So they might be getting half in double the amount of time. It will come back, I'm confident, as this is like a 20-year run for us with startups. And then finally, leaders of any kind that want to lead in a different way, that want to find what makes them really unique in the at the get-go, and then plug into that and drive with it. Let your heart lead you to the right company or the right startup. Like, if you really want to take that leap and become a founder yourself. In my case, I went around it circuitously because I did go work for a big company for 5 years, got my master's, and then decided I got an opportunity to work for a startup when startups weren't even called startups. In fact, I was walking to lunch the first day with a CFO who was from Tropicana, Pepsi, ironically, no connection to me, but he said, so that nobody gets paid here until we're revenue producing. And I almost choked on my lunch. I'm like, wait, what? I was asked my requirements. I was told it would be XYZ amount to live on. And then the rest could be equity and potential. And that was a rude awakening for somebody coming out of $1 billion company, and everyone calls you back because they know the name of the company. And then you're with a startup that has no revenues, maybe a handful of employees. And then you're told, by the way, there is no salary, real salary, and no direct deposit, no payroll, nor healthcare until you do it. So it's a big leap to make an idea that you might have in your mind to doing it. So when I say circuitous, I mean, I went from the big company to the small company with nothing and learned the ropes, and then decided to go work for another startup that actually could pay me, right? They were well funded. And then I got the bug and I just never looked back. There was one year I was taking some time off and Abbott Labs in Chicago called me. That's how I got recruited to them, because I had the startup experience, maybe 6 years or so, 7 years by then. And so I interviewed and realized that there are corporate entrepreneurs within big companies that want to feel innovative and be innovative. And so it just took a different path for me, but I have that experience of going to work for several, and then big companies, consulting, and then starting Ballast Group, which I do consider myself a founder. It is still a leap and a risk to take, to go out on our own, like we do, right? We're entrepreneurs, some are solopreneurs, some do a hybrid model, which we've done our whole 20 years, which is 1099 and full-time employees. So it's a good mix when you want to ramp up on something quickly and may not have that subject matter expertise in-house, but it allows you to grow into that. And that's also growing into your goals. Like, I want a team, but sometimes it may not have to be all full time. It can be a mix. And that's part of the gig economy, which is another chapter in there, but that's unrelated to this podcast, which is more about communication.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that this book is, obviously you're excited about it, and just how it is a culmination of this varied experience you've had between startups and big companies, and how to succeed in both by being true to yourself and by focusing more on the humanity involved rather than the specific structure of a particular company, because there's that common element is the people and the connections you have between them, those relationships that make the business of any size work. Is still like the people involved, and it's not necessarily like the tech or the structure or the product.
Mm-hmm.
But your unique expertise from this is that you've had success at the higher like size companies, more like the Fortune 500s and stuff, and you've also had success and experience in the smaller companies, and you know how to help those smaller companies bridge that gap between being a fledgling startup with no real revenue to be able to scale and position themselves for success to one day achieve that growth that they're all craving, but often have no idea how to actually get there. You started at the end and kind of came down to help bring up other people, which I think is great. And I think one of the reasons why this book is going to be so valuable for like so people who are looking to innovate or looking to grow their startups is because you have that breadth of experience, but also you understand it's not just like the strategy and tactics from like the business side. It's about here's how to grow as a human being to someone who can run an early stage startup. You have to grow as a person if the company is going to grow with you, especially if you're the leader. Because if you're stuck with the skill set and mindset of a early stage startup, you're not going to succeed as the company's trying to grow, because you'll become that bottleneck. So there's that personal growth aspect of it. I think that a lot of founders don't understand or realize that this book will be really valuable in enlightening them on that.
Yes. And how unique we all are. So finding those differences matters, and it's always about the people. I'm an identical twin, as you know, and from a really early age, I had to fight to be different, right? We both did. Everyone said Jolie, Kellee, same thing. And we knew we weren't. So over the years, it took me till 21. 20 years old. I went to away from college in Florida, where Jolie was too. We attended the same school, played volleyball. And I went to New York for the summer, and she didn't want to go. I didn't ask her, she didn't offer. So it was the first time we were apart. And I realized I was using the word we in plural instead of me or I. And so how could I find my unique if I didn't understand how to break from that? And that trip to New York for that summer was what did it. And I came back and it was like a whole new look on life and where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. And from there, I always made a mantra to say, find the difference, find that minute difference. because that's what matters. And so I did it for myself, and now I do it for our clients. And it is, every CEO we meet will say, we don't have competition. And I said, oh, yes, you do. And guess what? We look through a journalistic lens where they're writing a story, and whether it's about my clients or not, we always find third-party sources to back up their story and tell it with them, because journalists do. That's what they're known for, is finding all sides of a story and then letting the readers and viewers decide what their truth is. And so that's the beauty of finding those minute differences, is that's where we drive the story. That's what's news. That's what's the hook. Whether you're talking to a reporter or a producer, or you're building your online community with social media, or talking about yourself with what we call owned media, which is your website, newsletter, or blog, you can say anything you want, but people know that it's the company talking, and there's no third-party interpretation or perspective on it.
Love it, love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Kellee. If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please like, leave a review, and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Kellee, check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.
Love it. Thank you, Karl.